Guten Morgen. Guten Morgen. This is a computer programming university, and the topic of this stream is what is Planet Hopf? Okay, so what is this mathematical mumbo jumbo, which looks to me when I first saw it, looked like a nerdy, shall we say, scientific troll, right? Let's go show this crazy thing to people who don't understand the science and have them think it's something real, and then we'll just laugh at them. That's kind of what I looked at it. But the term Hopf, H-O-P-F, comes from Hopf bifurcation. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly, but from what I have found from my research, basically in mathematical theory of bifurcations, a Hopf bifurcation is a critical point where a system's stability switches and a periodic solution arises. More accurately, it is a local bifurcation in which a fixed point of a dynamical system loses stability as a pair of complex conjugative eigenvalues of the linearization around the fixed point. That's a tongue twister right there. Crosses the complex plane imaginary axis. Under reasonably generic assumptions about the dynamical system, a small amplitude limit cycle branches from the fixed point. A Hopf bifurcation is also known as a Poincare Andronov Hopf bifurcation. Now that's a mouthful. Named after Henry Poincare Eberhard Hopf and Alexander Andronov. Do svidaniya. So I'm not gonna get too much into the math because I'm horrible at math, and because the math goes something like this. The limit cycle is orbitally stable if a specific quantity called the first Lyapunov coefficient is negative, and a bifurcation is supercritical. Otherwise, it is unstable, and the bifurcation is subcritical. The normal form of a so we're gonna move beyond the math and see what else we can learn about Planet Hopf. By the way, happy Thanksgiving, United States of America people. Anyway, Hopf says that 3 space fibers over the 2 sphere. The Greek say the 2 sphere is planet Earth, and Copernicus says it spins. The consequences are ridiculous. So what are we looking at? The pullback of the S3 of a partial map of spinning planet Earth via the Hopf fibration. Feel that vibration in your soul. Okay. Anyway, via the Hopf vibration S3 to S2. All right. This is probably starting to make a lot more sense to you guys at this point. In the beginning, you guys are like, okay, this is kind of trippy. I don't know what this guy's talking about. This is above my head. But now you guys are like, wait a minute. Did he just say S3 to S2? Ah, I understand now. Mon ami. Okay. Anyway, let us continue with this insanity. Much like the cheese wheel on the left, which you guys can't see. But anyway, a wedge shape of an opening 80 degrees is cut out of R3, the whole map of Earth can be seen on both sides of the cut, each in itself a half plane. With an 80-degree rotation between the sides for improved visibility, the full pullbacks of only the G8 countries are actually shown, and only the pullbacks of Canada, Japan, and Italy are continued through the cut in a translucent form. Ah, I get it now. It all makes sense. Anyway, our good friends at Reddit, or on Reddit, say the holographic unified field theory, as developed by Nassim Haramein and the physicists at the Renaissance Science Foundation at the Hawaii Institute for Unified Physics. The theory explores the fractal holographic nature of the structure of space and thus how the totality of all is within each piece, unifying physics and solving quantum gravity. All right. The more we dig into this Hopf planet, the more it seems so easy to understand. It's making sense. It's just, I'm feeling it, guys. I'm really starting to feel this. It makes sense to me. I understand how this can make my life better. With that being said, I think that is all the information I was able to locate regarding the Hopf. Beyond that, let me see if I can get someone who has perhaps more than half a brain to explain a little bit of this for you guys. So, without further ado, listen to a genius who actually understands math beyond addition and subtraction, like myself, explain what this mumbo jumbo actually means. Or at least make an attempt. You be the judge whether you're successful or not. And action.
And this is going to be HOPF. What the fuck am I looking at?
You are looking at the most important object in the universe.
What? That looks like some trippy screensaver on your laptop.
Take another puff, my friend, because it's worth it. This is, what you're looking at, is a principal fiber bundle.
And it's
and it is the
Earth. Those are the continents I'm looking at.
That's the cool part about it, which is this is very confusing to figure out what you're looking at, but it's finite. In other words, if we stay for an hour or two on this and we actually answer all your questions, you will actually know what a principal bundle is, and you will know the arena in which gauge theory exists.
For folks at home that are just listening and they, well, what the fuck are these guys talking about? What is the name of this video, Jamie?
It's not a video.
It's not a video.
It's a small file on a page. I typed in PlanetHopf, and it was the first thing that showed up on math.toronto.edu.
Okay,
it's
so
an extended thing.
PlanetHopf. Yep. For anybody who wants to look at this, if you're just listening and you have no idea why I'm freaking out.
So this was done by a friend of mine named Dror Barnatan. I actually coded the same thing up. Strangely enough, didn't do as brilliant a job of coloring it.
This looks amazing, by the way.
So, okay, what you're looking at is a two-dimensional sphere that is the surface of the Earth, where an extra circle is included at every point on the surface of that sphere, which you're now visualizing. And that extra circle, which would be called the fiber, when you take the totality of all of those circles together, one for each point on the surface of the sphere, they create something called a three-sphere. That is all the points that are 1 unit of distance away from the origin in 4-dimensional space. So that 3-dimensional sphere is the analog of a 2-dimensional sphere sitting in 3-dimensional space. So think about a caramel apple. If you've ever made caramel apples, you get a disc of caramel and you wrap it around the sphere that is the apple surface, right? So this is the 3-dimensional version of caramel wrapped around the 3-dimensional sphere sitting in 4-dimensional space. Now,
Do you understand any of this, Jamie?
I'm trying.
well, look,
Okay,
dude, it's
thank
totally trippy, right?
Yeah,
and so
it's-
we're not going to get it completely during this session. However,
I think I lack the tools.
I don't think so. We lack the time. So the first thing is you are finding out that one of your friends thinks this is the most important object in the universe, and you've never even heard of it,
Right.
much less know that there's one visual example.
What the fuck? How's this happening now?
I know, exactly.
It does look fucking crazy.
Well, okay. This is what was discovered in the mid-1970s as the connection between mathematics and what we call differential geometry and the discipline of particle theory. So two guys, Jim Simons, the world's most successful hedge fund manager, and C.N. Yang, a person who might arguably be the world's first or second greatest living theoretical physicist, had a lunch seminar, and they said, why don't we figure out how do we talk to each other? And what they found out is they both had developed a version of this picture. And
Independently.
independently. So it was the Rosetta Stone that unleashed a revolution. So when Lawrence Krauss was talking to you about gauge theory, he was saying things about chessboards, and you color it white and you color it black. It's super confusing to me. I would rather your people be confused about an actual example of the object on which we do gauge theory that you can visually see, right? Now, if I started to tell you what gauge theory is, it's pretty simple. So here's a description I never hear anyone say. When you're doing differential calculus, I don't know if you remember differential calculus. You're trying to figure out the slopes of lines, the instantaneous rise over the run. So that always makes sense to people. Okay, I figure out how fast it's going up versus how fast it's going across. But a question arises, which is, where do you measure the rise from? So for example, if I say, what is the height of Mount Everest? Jamie will say,
35,000?
Yeah, something like that.
Something crazy like that,
Well,
right?
Let's just go 1,000. Say base.
Well,
from
let's
where?
you've got an
Google it.
internet connection.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
it-
Let's take a guess. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I can't remember. If
I want to say it's 35,000. What do you think?
it was 29.
29029.
Ah.
Okay.
What's the highest? What's the highest one? Is it K2?
No, K2 is second. Right?
Is it? Is Everest the highest?
Yeah. But okay, so
Okay.
Everest. So 29, what did you say?
29029.
29. Above what?
Sea level?
Okay. Where is Mount Everest located?
The Himalayas.
What's
Tibet.
What's sea?
There's no ocean there, sir.
Right. So,
Right.
like we snuck in, it's above sea level, and there's no
Right.
ocean.
So we start from the center of the Earth.
We have this structure called the geoid, which is the interpolation of sea level, as if the Earth was only ocean and there was no tide.
Right. And as if there's some sort of
So we snuck in the reference level. That's my point. Is that we teach these kids to repeat why it's 29,000 and change above sea level, and there's no sea.
right.
So that reference level is the magic of gauge theory, right? Which is that we measure the rise over the run based on a custom level.
So a level that we all agree upon.
So for example, let's imagine that you and I are in some country experiencing hyperinflation, right? And I'm your boss. And you say, dude, I need a raise. I say, well, look, I've told you I would hire you for, 10,000 dinars a month. And you say, yeah. I said, well, your salary is constant. I took the derivative of it. I've paid you 10,000 last month, 10,000 this month. So you're getting the same amount. Derivative equals 0. It's constant salary. Now you have to come back at me in calculus. And you say, no, I don't like your notion of the derivative, because what you're doing is you're measuring the absolute number of dinars that you're paying me. But what I want to do is I want to measure it in purchasing power, because I'm losing money every month that you don't increase my salary. So I now come up with a version of the calculus in which my salary is not constant because it's being measured relative to purchasing power rather than absolute units. That's gauge theory. Is that you're bringing in a reference level that does the differentiation. So you're measuring rise over run by customizing the problem. So these were two different applications of the calculus. The cheating employer says, I want to go with constant dinars. The gifted employee says, not so fast, I know gauge theory. I want to use a custom reference level, which is purchasing power. Right? So it's like sneaking the geoid into Tibet to measure Everest. I've got my custom level.
Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
It makes sense, right?
Yes.
But now explain it. Say what he said.
Well, I mean, we would need a new reference of what you want to measure, like a new conversation, to have like a flat level.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah. It would be really difficult for me to recall a day from now.
Maybe.
Lay off the weed.
No, it's not the weed.
That might help.
It's a no, the weed might help.
Yeah,
right?
I might recall better.
Might pop a mushroom cap, see what's up. It's still in reference to quantum physics, like how you would use gauge symmetry.
Well, but let's look at some more cool stuff.
Okay.
With the visual cortex, because everything that we can do visually should inform what we can do linguistically. So you should push everything into the visual realm that you can.
What do you mean by that? Like,
well, I just showed you the Hopf fibration, which is the only, in some sense, the only mature picture I can show you of a principal fibration in geometry or physics that is honest and has the full complexity. It's got a certain kind of knottedness to it. It's got something that we would call curvature, and it is visualizable. And so it would be better that we spent, a day or two on this most important object, which we think reality is based around, and that you visually got comfortable with it. And then you said, okay, now tell me again what gauge symmetry is. And then instead of Lawrence talking about this chessboard and the colors and all this stuff by analogy, you'd actually be seeing gauge theory visually. Like I could program a computer, and have done so, to show you visually what a gauge theory is. And it'll take.
All right. So this has been an interesting journey down the rabbit hole that is the Planet Hopf. Planet Hopf. However you're supposed to pronounce that. Yeah. Anyway, again, happy holidays. Thank you for everyone that joined in. This is the Computer Programming University. We normally talk about computer programming, but there's certainly a lot of math, or can be a lot of math. I would say there is a lot of math involved. Whether you interact directly with that math or not, that's another story. For example, case in point, I do not interact much directly with math when I do my coding. I take advantage of math that other people interact with, like when I utilize existing libraries in Python, for example. However, that may change, because one of my new things right now that I'm getting into is the magic of machine learning. That's something I've really gotten very much interested in. And when you're dealing with machine learning, you are definitely getting involved in mathematical concepts. Once again, you don't have to, because there's a lot of people that have already done the math sort of for you, and you can sort of leverage their research and their information to do your own thing. But I'm getting the idea that a better understanding of mathematical concepts behind machine learning ideas would actually help the learning process, because there's certainly a lot of concepts behind it all. And if I want to, I don't know if that's necessary or not, but if I want to really excel at this machine learning journey that I'm taking, then I'm going to want to pick up as much as I can. So we shall see. Anyway, with that being said, once again, happy holidays. Happy Planet Hopf. 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 Hopf the magic dragon. Okay. Now you're just trying too hard, my friend. Anyway, guys, until the next episode, I will see you soon. If you like the video, click on like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and smash that bell so you can get notified of new videos on this channel, which won't be about Planet Hopf. It'll be about computer programming. So if that interests you, I'll see you soon. Ciao. Hasta luego. Planet Hopf. Planet Hopf. Welcome to Planet Hopf. We have been invented. Be at peace. Live long and prosper. Now this is just getting well beyond weird. Time to end the stream, guys.